This is Business Incorporated with me, Boston Omofai. I'm in today for Chimeze Obi Iwago. Coming up at this time, Africa's largest cocoa producer plans $1.2 billion bond sales. In South Africa's Sibanye Gold considers moving its primary listing to North America away from Johannesburg. And Nigeria's Equities Clearinghouse unveils a new 3-year strategy. Stick around for this and more as we kick off things right now on Market Street, Africa. Take a look at the numbers and we just put that up for you. The Egyptian stock market beating both Nigeria and South Africa intraday today, the third trading day of the week. That's the numbers. Nigerian market is weak by about 0.1% about lunchtime. The South African GSE is also down almost by the same margin, while the Egyptian market was a serious gain, 2.23%. Overnight, yesterday, the Kenyan Stock Exchange, or the Nairobi Securities Exchange more appropriately, was down 0.29%. Let's cross over to the Gulf, where the stock markets rebounded modestly in early trade Wednesday after global bourses stabilized following their tumble in recent days. Let's look at the numbers. The Abu Dhabi market and the Qatar were the biggest performing at intraday this Wednesday. When we look at the Middle Eastern market, the Abu Dhabi was about 1.21%, trading in the green territory above 4,500. The Dubai financial markets, that's the DFM, also a decent 1%, close to that. But the Qatar Stock Exchange was where the market was a lot green at 2.273 positive, while the Tadawul market, that's the name for the Saudi Arabia Stock Exchange, it's called the Tadawul, that's a 0.14% in the green. Now, listen to the UK. European markets are higher today as global markets attempt to shake off the major volatility seen in recent sessions. Let's talk to Daniel Koop, who is at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. That's my colleague there. GWTV for Channels Television is the one taking us through the European markets and a few other stories on the wires today. Daniel, it's good to get back in the business with you. But let's get straight started with investors now relieved that the European markets did not have that big correction or even a crash. What is the morning after? You know what they call the morning after? I'm sure you do. What's the morning after looking like in Europe as we speak?
Well, hi there, Bosen. Let me actually just tell you, I'm having some problems hearing you right now. But yeah, let's bring you up to speed about what's happening here at the market right now in Frankfurt. A totally different picture that we have, of course, seen yesterday. Yesterday, investors here were extremely worried that we might either see here a sort of correction or even a crash happening. Then investors were very relieved when Wall Street was opening, when trading started there, and after shares were also initially dropping there, that then they went back to the winning zone. Yes, I guess you can see it very clearly in the background. We are actually with a plus at the moment of 0.72%. Investors are telling me that volatility is a big topic, and I guess that's really reflecting the chart as well. For them, after what was happening on Wall Street and also yesterday here, it's very hard for them to predict in which direction all of this is going to go. So yes, investors are still rather nervous. Also, when you look at the other stock markets in Europe, for example, at the SMI in Zurich, the FTSE 100 in London, and also the CAC 40 in Paris, all those indices are back in the green numbers as well. It seems that investors were finally realizing that the world did not really change from one day to the other, that in general the economical situation and also the market environment is still very good. Also, a trader told me a little bit earlier that this sort of correction that we actually have seen was actually healthy for the market, that the numbers now being displayed here on the board behind me are again more realistic.
I like it when the market does some correction. It just allows you to reshape things, as it were. But I'm sure in Germany right now, one of the big stories that, of course, everyone also is watching around the world. Germany is the largest economy in Europe and one of the top 5 around the world. Now that the Chancellor, Angela Merkel, Conservatives, and the SPD have been able to knock together an agreement on that grand coalition that's been on the table for some time. Daniel, is this a talking point on the trading floor, or folks are just happy that the stock market rout is gradually coming to an end?
Well, it's a number topic here, certainly right now on the trading floor, but also pretty much all around here in Germany, because we have to remember we had elections in September. Now, maybe in the next, let's say 1 or 2 weeks, we might have again an acting government, a real, I should say a real government, not this transitional government that we have had throughout the last time. Very important for Germany, also on the European level, where so many topics are on the agenda, such as Brexit, where many politicians have been saying that again, and now the very strong voice of Germany, also of Angela Merkel, there is needed. We are also getting already some comments here from the business world. It seems on the one hand, of course, investors are relieved that most likely we are not going to see a new election. This would have most likely resulted into another landslide here at the market, but on the other hand, they are not so happy with the results that were negotiated. So we are getting first statements, for example, from the Federal Association of the German Industry. They are saying that they were wishing more reforms, for example, regarding the tax system. Here in Germany, the tax reform of Donald Trump is always seen as an example. We remember that he was lowering in the United States the corporate tax to a level of only about 20–25%. Totally different scenario here in Germany. Here, corporate tax can be way up, more than 30% in general. Germany is one of the countries here in Europe with the highest taxes. So they are saying that they were actually hoping for that this would have been changed, but now this doesn't seem to be the case. Also, we are getting word that the Social Democrats, so the number 2, will be most likely in charge of the finance minister. Olaf Scholz, a former or still current mayor of the big city of Hamburg, most likely will hold this ministry position. Then also Peter Altmaier, who is one of the closest partners of Angela Merkel right now, being the minister of the Chancelleria. He most likely is going to be the new economist minister. So yeah, a very breaking story right now here, Bosen, that everybody here is talking about.